my video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. And in the olden days, my substance, alcohol, and my behaviour and my attitudes probably kept me in the dark, so I wouldn't actually say it's a sunny day and there's blue skies. I'd probably have the curtains drawn, not answering the telephone, watching something on TV which would inspire or emote deep sadness, because that's where I got to. I got to a place of deep, deep sadness when it came to my drinking, and I couldn't face the day. I didn't want to wake up, and life was quite miserable, and I don't know where the happiness went. And it went on like that for a long, long time. And these days, on a daily basis, I get to understand what my emotional condition may be on a daily basis in the moment of now. And sometimes it's happy and sometimes it's sad. It's just the way life is, as life experience is. But what I found in recovery, that is just one day at a time, life can be as it is. And depending on the circumstances, life circumstances, I can be happy or sad. I can be angry or not angry. All those things, all the emotions work, but they don't go to extremes of anarchy in my life anymore. They are more manageable in the sense that my response and reaction to life is probably in what might be called normal boundaries, as if there is ever a normal boundary. But when we have emotions which are at the extremes, extreme happiness based on nothing is suspicious, as is extreme sadness based on nothing is very suspicious. And I guess either way it can be bipolar. So what did drink do to me? Well, it covered up my fear, first of all. It made me convivial, or helped me be convivial, joyful, sad, you name it, anything. It seemed to take the lid off me. And then, over the years, it was there to take the edge off. What happened to me? Well, a drinkaholic, in the first instance, maybe. Workaholic, relationshipaholic, you name it, any old olic, any ism. Trying to be perfect, cover up those feelings of inadequacy, the feeling of less than others. Striving to be, can't get my words out, striving to be perfect, and never so. So these days, I suppose, a moderation in my emotions as I understand what living in the moment is. And spiritual, I have a spiritual connection to living, I hope. It's right now, in the moment. So whatever is going on in my life, if I'm able to cope with it in the moment and feel it, and then decide and understand what is possible and what is not possible, I have a bit of a chance to have a day which will work for me. So spiritual for me is not all about happiness. It's about understanding where I am in my one day, which works, this one. So there's a big pile of history which I had to deal with, and the future is unknown to me. All I know is if I live this day and work out what's going on as I go along, then I have a better chance of staying in recovery. So my story, 35 years of drinking, I could go into a great big drink-a-log, but the absolute truth is I went from being convivial to dependent to addicted. And the same is true probably in terms of substances or behaviour. So whatever the substance could have been, I could have taken it. I didn't get to drugs particularly. I think I had 2 puffs and inhaled. No, that's not true. More than that, a bit more than that, but not very much. I was always afraid of drugs. They were beyond my control. I knew that. But I thought I was masterful over alcohol. And of course I wasn't. And, you know, self-will will tell me that I can give it up. And I thought that for years and years and years. When I thought I'd done too much, I would try and stop. Just for a day or two, just to prove to me that I was okay. And it never seemed to work out too well, because taking the edge off was something I learned, and I trained myself to do that. It seemed to be my best friend, and then it bit me back, just as it can. So into addiction, and completely bamboozled. Yeah, bamboozled, definitely, and in denial. And part of denial is first of all, we don't know what's wrong with us, and then when we start to understand what might be wrong with us, it can't be that, because I rely on it. And over-reliance, dependence, and then addiction. Difficult, very difficult. And the trouble with denial is we still think and feel we can get over it, or feel and think we can get over it again. So I need help on a daily basis to keep me on track. So who helps me? Well, 3 elements of life are important to me: to love, be loved, and do something useful. So family, friends, community, professionals help me to a place where I could understand in a moment of clarity, I cannot beat this on my own. And then I found a fellowship, or it found me, whichever way round, a fellowship where people learn how to be sober and keep sober a day at a time. And that is Alcoholics Anonymous, full of unique, authentic people, not special and different, but just unique, authentic people who make life work on a daily basis and live life on a daily basis. I don't know if we make it work. We live it, and it's working. And there's a preamble or statement of intent about AA, and then I'll share a bit of literature. And the AA preamble or statement of intent really reminds me on a daily basis of what it is to be sober. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I go to meetings regularly of AA, and I went to a great one last night. I can say I was there, but I can't say that anybody else was there. And that's the nature of anonymity. It needs to be respected, and for me anonymity provides the sanctuary to find truth, the truth of now, and anonymity provides a safe place, a sanctuary to find our truth. And I was listening intently to a person speaking to probably about 80 to 100 people last night, who a year ago would never even contemplate sharing their truth with themselves, let alone another person. And there was great sharing back about life and how we care for people, those people who have hurt us most often or maybe abused us for years, and having love for them and forgiveness and needing to know they're okay. Part of recovery, that we understand where we've come from and need to find forgiveness, and we need also find forgiveness for others as well. Not easy, but it's the only way forward, I guess, for me. Anyway, literature in this book, Daily Reflections, it talks about happiness today. Happiness comes quietly. The trouble with us alcoholics was this: we demanded that the world give us happiness and peace of mind in just the particular order we wanted to get it, by the alcohol route. And we weren't successful, but when we take time to find out some of the spiritual laws, that is living in the moment, and familiarise ourselves with them and put them into practice, then we do get happiness and peace of mind as life affords. There seem to be some rules that we have to follow, but happiness and peace of mind are always here, open and free to anyone. And they are open and free to anyone based on our life experience, and sometimes life is sad, so we do what we can in the moment. Anyway, my time is up, and that serenity prayer which I share, or the serenity prayer which I share, is always there for me to remind me what is possible and not possible. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, for me, is in the moment and just for today. Substance was alcohol, my behaviour, trying to be perfect, never satisfied with my own life and myself, I guess. Always looking for that extra bit to do. And of course, alcohol took the edge off my disappointment with me often. So what helps me keep sober a day at a time? Well, obviously, as it says across my my YouTube website, Alcoholics Anonymous features very heavily in my recovery and continued recovery one day at a time. So what have I learned over these last few years? That recovery needs to stay in the day, that we make this one day work with a little bit of help from fellowship, a little bit of help from family, or a lot of help from either one of them depending on how we're feeling. And I feel a bit forlorn at the moment, and that's the end of a romantic relationship. And I'm learning what it is to detach with love from a good woman and somebody who just needs to follow their path, and I need to follow mine. So detach with love and acceptance of, and being able to continue to love a person even if you can't be with them, seems to be the order of the day, or the next few days, or 1,000 days, or 10,000 days, who knows. But the gift is detaching without anger, frustration, depression, and trying to fill the gap with another person, some substance, a particular type of behaviour. So the difference these days is when something stops working, it's not about anybody being right or wrong, and love was never wrong. Love is always a good idea and a feeling which we can keep and cherish, and we don't have to trash people, we don't have to be superficial or indifferent to them. We can cherish them still, even if we are not together. And this is a big learning lesson for me, and I'm glad I'm learning it, just one day at a time. And boy, is it painful, it's very painful. And not filling the gap with inconsequential behaviour or people or anything, not trying to fix myself, but just trying to gently find that path which keeps me sober, helps me find happiness or sadness as life affords. And the gift is really for me seeing that life is both happy and sad. And if we look at the balance sheet of good, bad, indifferent, cherishing, love, not loving, all those things, if in about the balance sheet of all of this we are learning all the time how to be, just how to be an ordinary human being with this absolutely amazing and extraordinary world in which we live, often very painful, but often to be cherished. I think cherished all the time. Anyway, what helps me? Yes, the Fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and I share the preamble on most of my videos because it brings me back into the moment of now, and that's pretty much what the Fellowship does, keeps us in the day. And it says this: Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sex, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So even when life is tough and hard, and especially if life is tough and hard, it's good to go and talk to people or share in a meeting just how we feel. And if we get our feelings out in the open, it means that we're not hiding, or we don't feel guilty or shameful or any more upset because we're trying to hide and pretend to be okay. So I'm not pretending to be okay today, I'm not. I'm suffering, and it's because of loss, and it's right to grieve and be sad. Yesterday I covered how it works, and it's really a little pamphlet from AA which shows from chapter 5 how it works and the 12 steps and 12 traditions. You can't see it too well, but those 12 steps are helping me on a daily basis just keep my head above water and deal with life. And the other thing which I use is the daily reflections. So I didn't get to say them yesterday, but they are very pertinent, and they don't lose their sense of timing just because it's a day out. So I'm going to cover both 16th and 17th here in this book, and just take a couple of sips of coffee. I feel thirsty, which means that my blood sugars are too high and I need some insulin, but I'll get that sorted after this. Hitting bottom, January the 16th. Why all this insistence that every AA must hit bottom first? The answer is that few people will sincerely try to practice the AA program unless they have hit bottom. For practicing AA's remaining 11 steps means the adoption of attitudes and actions, that almost no alcoholic who is still drinking can dream of. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 24. And it goes on to say, hitting bottom opened my mind and I became willing to try something different. What I tried was AA. My new life in the fellowship was a little like learning how to ride a bike for the first time. AA became my training wheels and my supporting hand. It's not that I wanted the help so much at the time, I simply did not want to hurt like that again. My desire to avoid hitting bottom again was more powerful than my desire to drink. In the beginning that was what kept me sober, but after a while I found myself working the steps to the best of my ability. I soon realised that my attitudes and actions were changing, if ever so slightly. One day at a time, I became comfortable with myself and others, and my hurting started to heal. Thank God for the training wheels and supporting hand that I choose to call Alcoholics Anonymous. And when I thank God with good conscience, and all those people who say go to AA because it's got more going for it than you have. And that was absolutely true. I was nearly going to put that book down there, but I also know that time is going along. So my rock bottom, a counsellor once said to me before I really got into the program of AA, how many rock bottoms do you need to actually make it absolutely clear that drinking is not for you anymore? And I don't know how many rock bottoms I had. And the gift of sobriety is we don't stop getting rock bottoms. That is a place where life feels absolutely scratchy, awful, and we can't connect. But the gift at the moment in this last week or so with the separation of me and my partner, she's okay, I hope. But desist from pen and tongue and desist from trying to say by the way is something I practice on a daily basis, and I'm sure she's all right, and she has many friends, so do I. And the gift is that we all are part of the same big organisational fellowship of life, and the gift is we can learn to heal, and healing is as important as is falling in love. So, coming on to January the 17th today, happiness comes quietly. The trouble with those alcoholics was this: we demanded that the world give us happiness and peace of mind in just the particular order we wanted to get it, by the alcohol route. And we weren't successful, but when we take time to find out some of the spiritual laws and familiarise ourselves with them, and put them into practice, then we do get happiness and peace of mind. There seem to be some rules that we have to follow, but happiness and peace of mind are always there, open and free to anyone. The simplicity of the AA program teaches me that happiness isn't something I can demand. It comes upon me quietly whilst I serve others. In offering my hand to the newcomer or to someone who has relapsed, I find that my own sobriety has been recharged with indescribable gratitude and happiness. And sometimes it does sneak up on us, and I've been helping one or two newcomers this week, and I'm very glad they didn't actually put me in the limelight, because there's nothing worse than being put on a pedestal by others who felt that we've helped them. We are all the same size, and we just make life work as we can. So those are the two readings. What can I say? Rock bottom. Yeah, they happen, and they don't stop happening. Life happens. And if we are able to understand that with fellowship, for example, we have emotional, spiritual and physical well-being at the core of the program. Emotional, spiritual. The emotional is understanding exactly where our feelings are today, and the spiritual is less denial and less filters. Spiritual connection is to truth. Truth is, for me, God, as Gandhi said, and I don't feel unabashed or ashamed by that. I don't understand God, but I understand that truth will help me find my path. So more on As Bill Sees It in the next video which follows.